Tomorrow, everybody.
Tomorrow.
Each of them, same place, every time. But you're in a better mood today, see? It's by the way you sit. It's amazing what you notice just by people's demeanours. There's a thing, they say that 70% of what you say is through your body, your actions, your movement, your attitude. It's very difficult when someone approaches you and says, hey, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. Okay, then what's wrong with your face? Okay, the mind of Christ, alright? The passive mind. Passive mind is interesting because it's basically all about living all these ideals, putting it into a bit of a, what's the word? Try and help me? Blank, can't see that evening. Just, what do you call it, not reference, there's lots of words off word. In a nutshell, I'm using a nutshell, wrong freaking word, but you're not getting it. Just to make it smaller, passive mind being a person that thinks up all these things, does all these things, but does nothing with it. He's passive. Passive. I think the worst passive mind or the worst passive thing that I don't enjoy is basically a passive aggressive person freaks me out properly. So I think one of the worst things about a passive person, when they're passive aggressive, you're not passive aggressive. They never ever in your face, they never ever tell you to your face, but they just do small things so they have an issue with you. And you know that they've got an issue with you, but they never admit they've got an issue with you. But there's always these small little niggles. That for me is the worst thing about a passive mind, about a passive person. Instead of just confronting you or telling you how they feel. It's the worst. Okay? If you had a guy like that, the person just knows that's an issue with you. You go to class or you go to I don't know, to a party or whatever your vibe is. You got this one guy, never tells you I don't like you, never says anything. But there's 3 glasses, and you give it to this friend, that friend, and you're there, and he goes, oops. You say, mate, Greg, what's the problem? What do you mean? There's no problem. What do you mean? You're like, flip, man. You don't get through. It's the worst. It's the worst. But the mind of Christ, it starts off by saying, you prayed in name. What did you pray? Okay, it says here, I believe that you have now made a firm decision to choose right thoughts. Now that's a question aimed at who? Your neighbor? Someone outside, your mom, your dad, the people that you believe put you in this position, yourself, 100%. Now, I'm going to ask you a direct question. I want participation here, please. So you put your hand up for either or. How many of you have come to a place where you understand and realize that you need to choose your thoughts? How many come to understand, you get it? So, guy, you don't get it, right? Here we go. Okay, I'll leave you alone now. So Lucas took very seriously, he came out. Okay, guy, except for guy. Everybody else, who's getting it? Who's realizing that you have the ability to choose your thinking? Choose that. When God speaks about that, you have a choice each day. We see these bigger things, these huge things, the things we see with our eyes, the things we notice. That's the thing. But you must understand, if you don't choose what goes on here, it's going to be very hard to do the things that are going on outside of you, that you have influence over. So I like to believe the majority of us have come to a place and understand that it's not the situation or the circumstance that's making us make wrong choices. It's what we allow to go on inside of you. You have some people, that fight or flight. The fight or flight, you can choose either or, right? So you get scared or whatever, and you either choose to fight back or you choose to run. Whose choice is it? It's yours. And that choice will be completely based on what you're thinking at the time. Completely. No one else. Doesn't depend on the size of the person or the situation. Because you get some people that you see as heroes. At the last minute, something happens, and in their crisis, they decide to become a hero. In their crisis, where other people would feel refrain. There's a guy that I'm a privilege of going to Bible school with, a police officer, and he's got I think 3 or 4 medal honor, like of bravery. And he spoke of a story. It was a moment where the school bus somehow was going through fire. The school bus set on fire, and he got out the school bus, and he started running. And as he ran, and he said he turned. It's obviously a testimony of his about God, grace of God's love, and he saw the kids in the bus stop. And in that moment, he decided not to run away from he knew he could burn. He knew the bus could explode. He decided to go back, and what he did was he stood over the entrance of the bus. He stood there. It was fire all around. So it was burning. It was burnt. Yeah, and he helped the kids get off the bus. It was a decision he made. But he did first start running. And he made a decision. Every one of us are capable of that. And that's what it speaks about here. It says that I believe that you have now made a firm decision to choose right thoughts. So let's look at the types of thinking that would be considered right according to the Lord. Firstly, there are certainly many types of thoughts that would have been considered unthinkable to Jesus when he was on the earth. If we want to follow in his footsteps, then we must begin to think as he did. It says the mind of Christ. The Bible speaks of the mind of Christ. So you have to, on purpose, choose to think what you believe he would think. On purpose. Like when you're upset or angry with someone, and even though they've irritated the crap out of you, what would they think? Those bangles used to get. Remember those bangles? It was quite popular. Then they bought out frog. Frog wasn't as popular. I mean, they tried to piggyback the situation. And UWJ used to think Jesus. Yeah, what would Jesus do? Big thing. Big thing. And it's such a... Everybody remembers those things. How do you never see that don't remember? Someone will wear this. It's not that popular anymore. But in that moment, what would Jesus do? The mind of Christ. That's what you choose. What would he do in this situation? And some of the things Jesus would do in this situation is very difficult for us to do because it affects this so heavily. You've got to really lay this down. And if you look at that, as they come through addiction, whatever our addiction choice of drug or alcohol was, if it was alcohol, is that we feed this all the time. So it's a lot harder for us to come into a place like this, a lot harder for us to change our lives because this thing is strong, man. This thing's geared. Our emotional, our mindset, everything's geared to satisfying this. And we need to understand it. It's geared to satisfy this. Especially people that are in addiction. Or in recovery. We're all in recovery now. Anybody use today? Okay. Anybody drink today? No. Okay. Especially those that are in recovery. We need to understand we have to on purpose choose the mind of Christ. On purpose choose to follow what he would do. On purpose choose something different. If you're not a religious person, then I'll go even further saying that you have to on purpose choose to be a principle-based person. You must be a man of principle. A man or woman of principle. Because when we pursued our flesh, when we pursued what our flesh wants, we were not people of principle. We were people that pursued to feel better, no matter what the cost. We would intrude on our family time. We would intrude on our kids. We would take away from our moms and our dads. We would take away from people that need us. You know, there's some people that look up to you, despite what you've done. You always have that one guy or that one girl that like looks to you. Girls, you've got this younger girl that sees you as the bee's knees, man. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you're getting high all the time. But tell you, the day will come when they will find out about it. And it will crush them. It will break them. And they'll have to come to a place in their lives, like you've got to come to a place in your life now, where they choose either or. Because many of us come through broken relationships. Many of us come through broken homes. Many of us come through heartache. Many of us. We wouldn't be pursuing quick fixes if that wasn't the fact of the matter. And some of us don't come from completely broken situations. Some of us come from subtle things, some perceptions. Like I said, if you have a youngster or a daughter or a little girl like your sister's daughter, something that looks up to you, just always excited to see you, and one day they find out you're a bit of a loser. Damn! My auntie! That thing when they get older now as well, take that thing in their perception must change because they now start seeing the world through those eyes. And that's not the mind of Christ. And we do the same. We tend to do to others what has been done to us without us knowing about it. That's what we tend to do. We tend to, the thing we criticize and the thing that we speak about, or the thing we say we won't do, we're the ones that are doing it. And we have a perfect opportunity now, in this day and age, to change it. You have the ability to change it now. As you sit here, you have the ability to change it now. What you will listen to, what you won't listen to. You have the ability when you walk out of here to choose to think about what you should think about. Even if you're in the smoking area, you have the ability to decide to jump on the bandwagon with whatever negative talks taking place. I was in prayer meeting this morning and I was reading through Romans chapter 14, and you were speaking about that there's some people, if you're doing something, as a mature person, if you're doing something that might make another fall, I'm paraphrasing, then don't do it. Don't do it. But in particular, we're speaking about eating, what you eat. Some people are okay to eat that, and other people, you've read the scripture before. I'm thinking, it's like a whole chapter, like a few chapters in another. There's chapters on this eating situation. And a lot of times you picture restaurants, or you picture halal or no pork, and you picture these things that they're talking about. And the more and more I looked at it, and in prayer meeting, obviously you get super spiritual, and I got a bit of a revelation. Would you like to hear the revelation?
Sure.
What you talk about and what you do. Because whatever you talk about and what you do, you're eating. So you're sitting in the smoking area, you're talking negative, you're going on negative. Guess what you're eating? You're eating negativity. So what they're trying to say is, if you can talk about a certain subject as a mature person, and it doesn't take you away from your faith or your belief, then it's good for you. But if you're sitting in a newborn Christian, like you newborn, and me and we're talking about something, and you're like, oh, you have to talk about that. I can't believe my mentors are talking about that. That's what he's talking about. He's saying to you that if it's okay for you, but he sees it to make your brother, it's to offend your brother, the way you speak and the way you conduct yourself. Even though you and your friend are okay with it, and you mature and you love the Lord, but now you go, oh no, man. Me and him as a mature people must stop eating that. We must stop doing that for the sake of you. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. So despite any of you having a bad day here, understand that your bad day affects those people around you. And if you're a person of maturity, you will decide in that moment that despite the way I'm feeling today, I know that my behavior right now will affect Gustav, Ian, and Greg. So me, myself, being the more mature person, I won't eat of that. I won't speak about it, I'll let it go, and I'll believe God will help me through it. Then you become a mature Christian. But many of us don't do that. We think we're okay with it. And that's not the mind of Christ. If you're okay with it, that's not the mind of Christ. Then you haven't come to this point in this. I believe now you've chosen and realized that you can choose your thoughts. Because despite what has happened to you, despite what has happened today, you can choose your thoughts. You can choose what you speak about. You can choose what you eat today. They say, what does it say in the Bible about eating the word? Hey, the word. Your words. You eat your words. And whatever people sit around and they listen to, if you're negative, you're sitting there, you get negative as well because you're eating what they're speaking about. Yeah, this one, man. All in an hour's prayer meeting. But it comes down to this. There's no demilitarized zone. Let's get your books. Please remind me. Please, Harvey, please remind me to organize your books. Just the two things. There's no demilitarized zone. There's no okay, I'm neither for the good guys or the bad guys. I believe they're both full of crap, so I'm going to sit here in the middle. In World War II, World War I, if they come into your country, you can decide, I don't like you, I don't like you, leave me alone. They say, no, choose. Choose. There is no grey area. Even though we have Mr. Grey here, relax you. But there is no grey area. There's no demilitarized zone. You choose today if you're going to operate and work in the mind of Christ, or you're going to follow your own fleshy lusts and desires. And you're in your position today because you follow your own fleshy lusts and desires. So if you're really wise, and you really believe you're getting wise, then you need to choose today to stop following and pursuing that thing. So I believe the best way to go is the mind of Christ. So those of you who haven't chosen, I hope I've convinced you to choose the mind of Christ in some way. Right away you're probably thinking that it's impossible. Joyce, Jesus was perfect. I may be able to improve my thinking, but I'll never be able to think as he did. While the Bible tells us that we have the mind of Christ and a new heart and spirit. One of the biggest revelations you should get, and I'm just speaking, I just get what I'm saying, is that the reason we struggle to change is because of our hearts. Because of our hearts. Not the pumping blood, it's our hearts. Our makeup, what we're about, our substance. That's what we struggle to change. And unless we change our hearts, and God offers you a new heart, He said a heart of flesh. Because remember, when you're in this world, your heart hardens. So unless your heart changes, you're never going to change. You can be maybe one of those 1 or 2% guys that change their lives around, but they never ever come to Christ, never ever come to God, never ever ever. You know what I mean? So they'll always have this issue. Or you can allow God to come in and give you a heart of flesh. So you can start seeing what you need to see and start letting go of what you need to let go of. It's our hearts. Our hearts are a big issue. It says here, I like the scripture very much in Ezekiel. It says, a new heart will I give you. Yes, man. When we hear this in the scripture, say, yes, please. Yes, please, give me a new heart. That's a promise you when I understood why I could never change. Why? Because of my heart. I needed a new heart. When I had a new heart, I could see what I needed to see. If you want a new Mercedes-Benz engine, especially in the days where there wasn't such thing as a big black market, you know, like all this. But when things were above board still, if you needed a Mercedes-Benz engine, where would you go? To BMW? to Angola. Nowadays you can do that, I suppose. I don't know. But you would go to Mercedes-Benz. Alright? Same thing now. Now, you need to go to the person that built you, that created you. And what happens a lot of times when we're in dysfunctional behavior, we don't go to our Creator. We either believe He doesn't exist, or we believe, what? Yes, man. Look what if He knew, why would He let me be born? We get into that mindset, and you need to come to a place where you realize that He loves you very, very much. And this world was created for us to rule and reign. We have the authority. If you abdicate your authority, abdicate your responsibility, and things go wrong, how can you blame someone else? How? But we do that. We do that. I had someone come to me earlier on and tell me a sad story about how he doesn't have a certain section in his book. And I hear. But if you've been here for a period of time and you know that section of your book's not here, I'm sure you come to a place where you could actually make a plan to get it sorted out. Without the help of the people you went to. You're responsible for it. And I'm sure that person's listening to me. Don't smile too big. I want to know it's you. Now you're laughing. Oh wow. A new heart will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And you shall heed my ordinances and do them. How often we try and do them, we try and change them. We take strain to change. And He's telling you, if I give you the new heart, it'll be a lot easier to be in you, to be written inside of you. It will be almost difficult. To start becoming difficult to do wrong. Now when you're doing wrong, it's a lot easier to do wrong. It's a lot easier to do the wrong thing. And it's actually fun. When He does this, when He makes this, when He gives you this new heart, when He gives you this new, and He writes His ordinances in your new heart, it will be difficult for you to do it. It won't be impossible for you to do it, but it will be difficult for you to do it. The thing that you found easy will now become difficult. Have you noticed when you walk here and you allow God to start working in your life and heart, it's more difficult to drop the F-bomb. It's more difficult to be nasty. You can still be nasty to walk away, oh damn, I'm going to apologize. Things start changing in your life because He starts making a difference from inside. As Christians, you and I have a new nature. As believers, as a person that pursues principles. You can't be a principle-based person without Him in your life, man. It's difficult because you will change your principles. So even if you work by the principles because you're in the world, you're never able to always adhere to certain principles. You will break certain principles when you don't feel like it anymore, when you're having a bad day. But when you're in Him, you can walk out the principles. We can see from the scripture that God knew if He were to heed His ordinances and walk in His statutes, that He would have to give us His spirit and a new heart and mind. In Romans 8 verse 6 it says, speaks of the mind of the flesh and the mind of the spirit, and tells us that the death is a result of following the mind of the flesh, which we spoke about earlier on. We pursue our flesh. Remember, our thinking is geared, like I said, think about this. Your thinking is geared to look after this. When you sit here, when you get offended or you get irritated, that's geared to feeding this. Maybe you're hearing something you don't want to hear. Automatically, this is geared to getting away from that. Where you got to on purpose say, no, whoa. This Spirit said, you must be geared to listen to what's in me. You need to work out what needs to work out. You need to live what you need to live, and you need to teach what you need to teach. And the mind of the Spirit tells us that death is a result of following the mind of the flesh, and life is a result of following the mind of the Spirit. We would make tremendous progress simply by learning how to discern life and death. Let me ask you a question on a practical level. How can we discern life and death? Does anybody have an idea? Well, the books that are going on, but I'm going to ask you now, off the top of your head. How would you discern between life and death? How do you know what you're doing? Because it's such a, there's like no grey area.
Your conscience.
Okay, conscience. So you got a new conscience, and the conscience is telling you, okay? Let's just say you're in a bad space. You know?
Isn't it also life is when you follow Christ, and death is when you don't?
That's more or less what I like to get to.
Spiritual life.
Who you're honouring. In the decision you're about to make. In the thoughts you're thinking. Who are you honouring? Who are you honouring? If the situation you're in and the situation you're feeding, if you're not honouring God, what are you feeding? So if you can't go say, God, I honor you in this conversation I'm having with Greg right now, you can't. Then you ask, what are you feeling in the flesh? Just ask yourself, who are you honoring today? Who are you looking today? The decision you're about to make, are you honoring yourself and what you're about? That's one way to look at it. It's a lot deeper. But it's a simple thing. It's a simple thing. It's if I lose it now and I punch this guy in the nose, who am I honoring? If I walk up this farm now because I'm offended at my counsel, who am I honoring? If I decide to get involved in this argument or this debate, who am I honoring? A lot of times we enter a debate, we're actually honoring ourselves, our egos. Because the Bible says, avoid all foolish arguments and all arguments about doctrine. Sometimes you get caught up in doctrine, arguing about doctrine. Walk away. If something is ministering death to you, don't do it any longer. I like what she goes into depth here. She speaks about this. When certain lines of thought full of death, you know immediately that it's not the mind of the Spirit. If you're meditating on something, and the more you meditate on something, the more you think about something, if it starts agitating you, you start getting angrier, and I can't deal to that. You start getting more involved. What do you think you're doing to yourself? You are ministering death to yourself. Even if you're super upset and it was super wrong, understand you're the one that's being affected. Good word, affected. Infected even. You've been infected. Because you're meditating on it. And it tells you, the Lord's showing you, saying, look at what you're meditating on right now. What you're thinking about right now is not good for you, so stop it. Stop it. But we don't stop it. Huh? But we have the ability to stop it. You can think about it a bit when you do inventory, but it's in and out. Good jam. Inventory messes some of us up. It can really mess us up. But it's important to get it out. Because even though you're not thinking about it consciously, you're thinking about it subconsciously. I asked someone to do something the one day, I said to them, please do a letter to this person, the letters, to get it out. And they said to me that they don't need to do it because they're over it. They're over it. They don't need to, they're over it. I said, okay, no, okay, do it anyway. Just for the fun of it. Just do it anyway. I need to just check what comes. I want to see what comes up. No, I don't need to. You know what? It took him 3 months to do that. But in the 3 months, 2 months and a bit, that I waited in for do that everything else fell by the wayside. His homework, his writing out, everything fell by the wayside. Everything. He didn't do his homework anymore. He was a bit more ratty. People struggling with his monitors. And so you tell me now, if he was over that thing, why did that thing affect him so much? Ask yourself the question, you can be in the same boat. Resist, right? I'm over it, okay? Then it should be very easy for you to write it. Very easy, isn't it? If you're over it, it should be easy. Okay? And at the end of it saying, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. But if you refuse to write it on a piece of paper, then ask yourself, are you really over it? Let me tell you one thing, once you finally did, which you did, everything fell back into place again. Amazing for a person who was over something. Did end up getting extended for extra 3 months, but he did well. The extender. To illustrate, let's say I'm thinking about an injustice. Here we go. To illustrate, let's say I'm thinking about an injustice. I suffered because of another person, and I begin to get angry. You're thinking about the situation, you've been there before, hey, you think about, yes, it's the worst when you're on high meth. Wow! Okay, so you've had a heavy night, and you come home and you're irritated about a situation, and you lie in the bed, and you're picturing baseball bats and all kinds of things. You're like for 2 hours, you haven't really sleep, and you're just so tense. Someone comes at the door, and I comes in, they're knocking your bed, and you go, what? No? And I can't see you now, you're upset, man. We're going over to kill him now, beat him now. That was bad, man. That's not really bad when you do that. How many times you guys done that? Especially on that stuff. That stuff's horrible. Yes, man. Crazy. Can I go have another hit? I'll feel better. No! Are you sort of preparing yourself? Knuckle dust on your hand, knife in your pocket, your bat. Where are you going? Nowhere. Okay, this is normal, man. This is normal being high now. Let's say the normal situation is horrible, eh? I believe we think that drugs change us. Really do. We think that we take drugs to change us. No. I believe drugs amplify what's going on inside of you already. That's what it does. It amplifies what's going on inside of you already. It makes bigger already what's there already. I must admit, one of the things I used to enjoy about those things is that the things that I was too afraid to do, the bad things that I was too afraid to do, you do it. I must admit, that's one of the reasons why I liked it. Hey, no, you can't do that, it's wrong if you do that. If I find more sambucas, triple whiskey, okay, 2 lines, okay, let's do it. It amplifies what's going on inside, right? Don't think it changes you. It doesn't change you. You understand something coming and getting sober doesn't mean you changed. It's changing that means you change. When you actually change your behavior, it means you change. Your behavior, your thinking in the first place took you to it. I want the old so-and-so back. It sounds all good and nice. The old so-and-so went there. Hello? There's not the old person, that goody two-shoe that your family thought that was goody two-shoe. That same person, that same quiet, I said, the reason he started using is because he didn't like being so quiet. The way he saw himself, he didn't like what he liked about himself. Despite him being a good boy or whatever. Because you're extremely quiet doesn't mean you're good. Because you're extremely loud doesn't mean you're bad. It amplifies you. So your heart needs to change. Don't come and just stop drugging and drinking. Allow God to change your heart. Really? Yeah. Okay, let's go there. But actor. Hey? You have to test me after this. The guy here. Okay, you ready? Let's say I'm thinking about an injustice. I suffered because of another person. Right? People do us wrong. Ex-girlfriend and that. And I begin to get angry and I start thinking about how much I dislike that individual. Been there? Yes. You. And if I'm discerning, I will notice that I'm being filled with death. If you're discerning, you'll notice. Whoa. Because it takes your time up, eh? Do you think about someone and hey, you're not involved in what you're doing, you're not focused on what you're doing, you're not speaking to who you should speak to, you're not getting done what you should get done. You notice when you're agitated, you've got a whole lot to do for the day. As soon as someone agitates you, you take on the agitation, it's very difficult to finish what you need to finish. Yes. But it's actually your choice to hold on to the agitation. It is your choice. Okay. I will notice that I'm being filled with death. I'm getting upset, tense, stressed out. I may even be experiencing physical discomfort. Huh? If we got to that place where you get so involved with the emotion, so involved with the feeling, you actually get physically uncomfortable. You maybe feel sick, maybe have a panic attack, maybe your neck stiffens up, maybe your stomach, you know. Experience physical discomfort, headache, stomach pain, or undue fatigue may be a fruit of wrong thinking. On the other hand, if I'm thinking on how blessed I am, how good God has been to me, I'll always discern that I'm being full of life. If you're having a bad day today, or you perceive having a bad day, what are you thinking about? Just think, what are you thinking about? How many of you have a bad day but you're thinking good thoughts? Hey? Get up and you're thankful, try and yes, you're having a bad day, but you're thinking about the nice holiday you had, you're thinking about seeing your family soon on the weekend, and you're thinking about how far you've come, and you've been clean and sober for a period of time, and you're thinking about all these wonderful things. Are you having a bad day? No. Far from. Okay, now how many of you, how many times are having good thoughts and vice versa? It's impossible. See, it shows you that you're responsible for your day. Moving forward, yeah, this part here. So go down to the bottom where it says in the following passages of this chapter is a list of things to do in order to flow in the mind of Christ. Very important. Firstly, think positive thoughts. Think positive thoughts. Who must think the positive thoughts? We must think the positive thoughts. I can't make you think positive. I can encourage you, motivate you, and hopefully make you change your perception on how you see something, but you choose to think the positive thoughts. Now, some of you that have to go through some things today, and you have to go through that thing today because you need to grow. You need to grow, so you've got to go through it. And you, in that moment, whatever you've got to go through, you have to choose to think positive thoughts. To see the benefit. There's a benefit. Even if it's difficult, there's a benefit in what you're going through. There is a benefit. I like this in Amos 3 verse 3. It says, do two walk together except they may make an appointment and have agreed? Let me ask you something. If you really want to change your life, really change your life, now I'm saying the spirit things of the flesh, we know that. The spirit and the flesh. Really want to change your life. If this refuses to agree with the change, how are you going to change? If this continues to agree with this, how are you going to change? Because this will keep winning. You're going to make sure that this starts agreeing with the Spirit. This, you're in charge of that. Peter died. Okay, it's a good day. No. That's what we do. Like yesterday, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's my priorities. Mark it off. I'm going to start doing this from today. Next morning comes. You notice sometimes we plan to do something from early in the morning, but you sometimes have a bad night. Yes, it's the worst, man. I'm going to get up early from tomorrow morning. You don't sleep well. Huh? Now, what happens then is you have a choice then. This must choose now. Even if you had a bad night, you have the ability for this mind of yours, you can choose to still side with the Spirit and still get up and do what you need. Even if you're in a bad day, you should still side with the Spirit and still decide to read your Bible for the day, or finish that task for the day, or be nice to that person. You have the ability to do that. But it will not happen if they're not in agreement. Your mind must choose to agree. You must choose. Your mind must choose to agree with your Spirit for you to do the things of the Spirit. What's it saying? Whatever you feed will grow. So if you every day, same old, because you had a bad night, because you didn't sleep well, because you didn't wake up blacker, because you had extras for the day, decide not to follow through, or at least get some of it done that you promised to get done today, every day will be the same. Until you decide, okay, I'm tired, didn't have a good morning, didn't start the morning, but I choose today to still follow through with that. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. That's another problem we have. We want to be perfect. The day's not perfect. If anything goes wrong in the day, you want to throw the rest of the day away. You ever been there? Anything goes wrong, anything simple. So you're really trying hard to get that done, and then trying to get that done because you're starting a new life. You forget to sort this out. You leave it on the thing, and the monitor comes and says, extras. Bye. And you just like think, God, like really? I'm trying to change my life for you, I'm trying to live for you, and I got extras on the monitor. Now you blame God for the monitor giving you extras. It's a learning process. Next time you go there, you realize, damn, don't leave it there, move it out the way, then go do what you need to do. Learning, changing, learning, growing. If a person is thinking according to the mind of Christ, what will his thoughts be like? This will be positive, that's for sure. In an earlier chapter, we have already discussed the absolute necessity of positive thinking. You may even want to go back to chapter 5 at this point. Please don't do it now. Please listen. And refresh your memory. Maybe you should actually follow the thing and maybe afterwards go, today go to chapter 5. I don't know. It's up to you. You choose. See, that's when you choose. That's when you choose. It's difficult. It's irritation. I've already read chapter 5 for flip's sakes. And Karen reading. And you can go, okay, let me go back to chapter 5. Oh, it's a long chapter. Oh no, stuff it. Go back. You choose. That's where the choice comes in. That's where you choose. Because if you can choose correctly, you'll do the correct action. And enough correct actions changes your life. Enough can never be said about the power of being positive. God is positive. And if you and I want to flow with Him, we must get on the same wavelength and begin to think positively. I'm not talking about exercising mind control, but simply about being an all-round positive person. Okay, if you go to the next page. I'd like to read Psalm 3:3, a very nice psalm. According to Psalm 3:3, it's the second paragraph. God is our glory and the lifter of our heads. God is the glory and lifter. So if you're in a certain space, you need to say, who lifts your head? Who's your glory? Him. But then we try to look to everybody else in every situation, every circumstance for them to. No, God lifts our heads. He's the lifter. He's the one that changes us. If you spend enough time with me, you're going to start saying certain things that I say, and I'll start saying things that you say. Right? It's inevitable. Now, if you keep watching a program, even if you don't like the program you're watching, you know that song, that earworm, you get I'm a Barbie girl, the Barbie girl. Never had the album, just like the song intensely, but I know the flipping words. Okay? Because they're playing on the radio all the time when I was doing it. That doesn't happen. So the same thing now is if you keep turning to God and looking to God and pursuing the things of God, and you keep being around Him and thinking about Him, and practicing His thoughts and practicing what He says, who will you become more like? Like Him. So if you're more like not Him, it's because you've chosen to not hang around or be around or think about what you're supposed to think about Him. There's the battle. There's the fight. That's the actual fight. The fight isn't getting anybody to like you again. The fight isn't to get your job again. The fight isn't to make if you can win, if you can start winning these battles, these fights, everything else will fall into place. They will start falling into place. We're so busy focusing on the wrong fight. The wrong fight. We think our fights with our ex-wife, or our fights with our friend that took our girlfriends, or our fights with, I don't know, makeup, you know where you're at. And that's not the fight. If you can make the right choices here, the thing you thought was a fight was never a fight. It was a waste of time. And that's exactly the key word. It's a waste of time. We've wasted so much time. We can't waste more time. Stop wasting time. The scripture says it's a beautiful thing. It says that He will help you redeem the time. Who? And He gives you the instruction. You redeem the time. But only Him. Can't redeem the time without Him. It'll be difficult. Please go down to overcome depression. Page 188. Psalm 143, 3-10 gives a description of depression and how to overcome it. Let's look at this passage in detail to see the step we can take to overcome the attack of the enemy. Identify the nature and cause of the problem. It says here, for the enemy has pursued and persecuted my soul. Who? The enemy. Right? So if your soul's being persecuted and you are allowing him, he cannot control you. He can only make a suggestion. You decide to mull over it and meditate on it and eat it. He has crushed my life down to the ground. He has made me to dwell in dark places as those who have been long dead. Dwelling in dark places as one who is long dead certainly sounds to me like a description of someone who is depressed. Notice that the cause of the source of this depression, this attack upon the soul, is Satan. Recognize that depression steals life and light. Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed and faints within me, wrapped in gloom. My heart in my bosom grows numb. This is a horrible thing when you're there. I've been there. I think most of us have been there. Hey, it's not nice. When the sun's shining, everybody around you is happy, and you the world's ending. Depression oppresses a person's spiritual freedom and power. Our spirit, empowered and encouraged by God's Spirit, is powerful and free. Therefore, Satan seeks to oppress his power and liberty by filling our mind with darkness and gloom. Please realize that it's vital to resist the feeling called depression immediately. I like the key word here for me is resist the feeling. Say one more time, the feeling called depression. Immediately upon sensing its arrival. The longer it's allowed to remain, the harder it becomes to resist. Remember the good times. I remember the day of old. I meditated on all your doings. I pondered the works of your hand. He is telling you, choose on what you think about. And a big thing, a principle, a good principle, when you're depressed and when you're down. I've said this before, you guys might remember. A person that's depressed is a person that's ungrateful. You are ungrateful when you're depressed. I know this, ask yourself a question. If you're feeling depressed today, what are you thankful for? Are you grateful? If you get up this morning and you're depressed and you're down, what are you thankful for? You're thankful for nothing when you're depressed. You're ungrateful. So, how do you help yourself choose the right thoughts? You choose, you start realizing and remember what you're thankful for. Start with something simple. Thankful that you have a pillow in your bed. Thankful that I have a blanket to keep me warm. Thankful that I have shoes to put on my feet. Hey? Thank you that I can see the beauty of life. Thank you that I have a mother or father that loves me. Thank you I have people around me that are here for me and encourage me. Thank you for Jericho. It's a wonderful place. You'll see, you come under depression. Because guess what's happening? You start thinking differently. And there was an exercise that I heard many years ago, a test. How do you change what you're thinking? Talk about the right things. Meditate on the right things. Say the right things. Focus on the right things. Okay? Do yourselves a favor. Count down to 10 in your mind. In your mind, count down. 10, 9, 8. And then go say hello. I can't. Say hello. Hello. No. What happened to the counting? You can't still count and say hello. You stop. You've got to focus on saying hello. So, there we go. Right? There's a tool you can use to start thinking about something different. You can't count down backwards and then start having a big dip chat with God. You're going to stop counting. See? You have the ability. So out loud, be grateful, be thankful. Out loud. Don't feed the guy next to you. Speak. That's how you help yourself. If you're struggling to get your thoughts to focus on something, say it out loud, your mind will automatically stop thinking about what you're thinking about, and will start going into something else. In this verse, we see the psalmist's response to his condition. Remembering, meditating, and pondering are all the function of the mind. It's a function of the mind. He obviously knows what his thoughts will affect his feelings, so he gets busy thinking about the kind of things that will help him overcome the attack upon the mind. Praise the Lord in the midst of the problem. That's a difficult one, man. If you guys go to church and you're down, you know me. Huh? You see? Huh? What's about? I don't know. It's difficult, it's very difficult. But I'll tell you, if you get yourself into a place when you're worshipping or something and you lift your hands up and you start praising, see, God expects you to do the opposite of what you feel. A lot of the time, He expects you to do the opposite of what you feel. A lot of the time. Because He's bigger than what you feel. I like this thing here in closing. I heard it the other day and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I said it to one of my counselors. I just really, when you hear something, just... It says here, listen carefully. At the end of your feelings, if you're going to follow your feelings, at the end of your feelings there's nothing. There's no reward. There's nothing at the end of your feelings. Have you noticed? Because if you were in love today and 2 years later you're divorced or broken up, it means that your feeling at that time, there was nothing at the end of that feeling if you pursued that feeling. Then it says, at the end of every principle is a promise. I like it. So if you're going to pursue the way you feel today because you're in a bad way, not to finish what you start, because what you feel at the time will be the cause of you not following through on something. The other day we did that fragmentation. At the end of the day it came down to you need to finish. Finish, it's important. If you go according to your feelings will justify you not finishing what you started. But if you go according to principle, there'll be a reward at the end of it. Mind the trust. Amen. Okay. Father God, I want to thank you for who you are. I want to thank you for giving us principles, Lord. I want to thank you for giving us another chance. I want to thank you for giving us a new heart, Lord. I want to thank you that you love us, Lord. And that you're a good, good Father. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.